Hello everyone, this is Zen Lim from Bluenest and welcome to our sharing session on Property Talks. Additional Buyer Stamp Duty, in short ABSD, a term that many should find it very familiar by now ever since its implementation on 8th December 2011. It has undergone 2 rounds of adjustments, with the latest adjustment being done on 6th July 2018. So the question is, how does one determine the liability of ABSD and what rate is actually applicable to you? We still get these questions coming from our clients, and therefore in today's session, we'll be sharing with you guys on how to determine the liability of ABSD. In order to do so, we have to consider 3 factors. Firstly, whether the buyer is buying as an entity or individual. Second, the residency status of the buyer. And lastly, the count of residential properties owned by the buyer. How do we know that whether you are making a purchase as an entity or individual? In fact, if you belong to the following groups of purchasers, you will simply not be considered as an individual. First, an unincorporated association. Example, church group. Second, trustee managers. And lastly, partners, making the purchase and the property is to be held as a partnership property. Do take note that today, if you are making a property purchase with various buyer profile groups, the buyer with the highest ABSD profile will be applicable for this purchase. An example, if I'm a Singaporean, I'm making a purchase with an SPR. This property will be our first property purchase. The ABSD rate that is applicable for this purchase will be at 5%. The ABSD liability will be determined based on the nationality of the buyer on the date of purchase. So what do we mean by date of purchase? Date of purchase simply means the date when the buyer exercises the option to purchase, or the date where the sales and purchase agreement is granted to the buyer. For your residency status wise, the date of issue reflected on your IC collection slip will be the date where your residency status has changed. The count of residential properties will be determined by the following. As a buyer, if today you have already exercised the option to purchase, that particular property will be included in your property count. For a seller, if your buyer has already exercised the option to purchase for your selling unit will be excluded from the property count. Next, whether you partially or jointly own a particular property, that property will be considered as a full count of property under your portfolio. Other than making a property purchase, if today you acquire the property via way of gift, inheritance, release, settlement, or declaration of trust, these type of properties will be included as your property count. As for properties that are to be excluded from the property count, that will include properties that have been gazetted for compulsory acquisition or foreign overseas residential property. Well, that's all from us for today. If you have any questions or topics that you would like us to discuss about in our next talk show, feel free to leave it at the comment section below. And don't forget to like, subscribe and follow us on our Facebook page. Until next time, Zen Lim from Bluenest, signing off.